So you got an automatic watch. Congratulations. You have a great little machine inside your watch. One thing you'll notice right away is the second hand here sweeps a lot more smoothly than the ticking of a quartz. A couple things to know if you have an automatic watch. First of all, if you have a watch with a screw down crown, this here is the crown. And if it's a screw down crown, that means you can't do anything with it until you unscrew it, and it'll pop out once you unscrew it. That's for water resistance reasons. The more tightly everything's screwed down, the more water resistant it is. Another thing you'll notice is on the back, depending on what kind of back it is, this whole back screws off and screws on. And that's again for water resistance. Okay, so if you want to set it, because the way an automatic works is it has a mainspring that you can wind up, or in the back there's a rotor that you can't see here. Some watches have the see-through back or the exhibition back. Here's an example of the rotor in an exhibition back. As you see, every time you move the watch, it spins around, and that is doing the same thing as if you were to wind the watch up by hand. So as you wear it, if you wear the watch every day, you never have to wind it. But if you set it down and don't wear it for a few days, you'll see that everything's stopped. That's no problem at all. All you need to do is give it a shake and wind up that rotor, or you can wind it up by hand. And then you're going to have to set it, of course. So the first thing we're going to do, this is, as you can see, there's no gap here, right here. There's no gap between the crown and the watch because it's screwed down. But as I unscrew it, just gently unscrew it, and you will feel right about there. It pops out, okay? And in order to screw it back down, I'm going to have to push it in. See how there's a little bit of bounce there? You're going to have to push it in while gently screwing it and being careful not to cross thread it. Okay, but right now it's unscrewed, and you see that gap there between the crown and the watch. And you can even see the threads in there for where you're going to screw it down later. All right, so now you can see the crown sticking out a little bit more here, and everything's still working fine, and still running. Okay, there are, in a movement like this where you have a date, there are going to be two positions to pull out the crown. Right now it's not pulled out at all, it's just unscrewed. You put your thumb, or I use my middle fingernail here, and I kind of put it behind there, put my thumb here to make sure I'm not pulling it one way or another. I want to pull it straight out. Gently pull it once, you'll hear that click. You're in the first position. This is the position where you can change the date. But if you notice, the second hand is still moving. If you pull it to the second position, so one more click, and I'm purposely waiting till the second hand gets all the way to the 12. There. So you have all, then I just push it all the way in, then 1, 2. Okay, now the reason I waited till it was around the 12 is when I set it on the minutes, I'm just twisting it, I always like to set it going forward. I don't like to move it backwards, even if I had to go around 24 hours. It's just, from what I've read, it seems like it's better for the movement to go forwards rather than backwards. Now I can set it right on the exact minute I want it, wait till the time gets to the right time, and then push it in, and I can have it set to the exact second. All right. So what I want to do is, say you've let it sit for a few days and it's not on the right date, and you actually don't know if this is 11 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock at night. The one thing you definitely don't want to do is you don't want to change that date in that first position. Remember, we're in the second position now, but when you push it into the first position and just change the date, you don't want to do that if it's between 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. While the watch is in the process of changing the date at midnight, it's kind of a long process, but you don't want to force the date to change by hand while it's in the middle of that process. So one way around that is I'm just going to advance the time, and you'll see it went past 12 and it didn't change from 23 to 24. That means that that was 12 a.m. to noon. Now we're at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Now I'm in the zone where I don't want to change that date by hand. But notice, as I get closer to midnight, watch that 23. You're going to see that 23 is starting to move. And as you get closer to midnight, it should click into 24 right around midnight. And there we are, just right around midnight, it clicked to 24. Okay, but it's everything, we want everything to completely finish. So now it's 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. Now, I say from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m., maybe 4 a.m., but I think you're definitely safe at 3 a.m., especially since this finished its turn to the next date at midnight. Okay, so this watch thinks it's 6 o'clock a.m. and 5 seconds. Okay, so what I want to do is say, what time is it right now? And according to my atomic clock, it's 3:34 p.m. I have right over here the time, 3:34. So what I want to do is, since I'm in the 20s still, I can change this to, I'm going to have to get it to 3 p.m. So I'm coming all the way around to 3 p.m. and I want to get to 3:30, 3:35, get it right on 3:35. And then when that clock says turns to 3:35, I just push this in to the 0 position, and I know I'm right on time. 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, and there we are, 3:35. And you'll notice this was on the 5, so I'm about 5 seconds fast. Another thing you're going to notice with an automatic movement is they're not as accurate as quartz watches. A quartz watch, you can set it, and a month later you can pick it up, and you might still be within 5 or 10 seconds of the correct time. However, automatic movements are never that accurate. Even the very high-end ones, you don't get them for accuracy. You get them because they're cool. And so, you see all that movement in there. You see everything. The way things move inside an automatic, it's just an amazing piece of workmanship. So what you're going to notice then is in a couple days, you might be 10, 20, 30 seconds fast or slow. So I always set it about 5 seconds fast just in case it runs a little slow. So by the end of the day, I might be almost right on time. However, if it runs fast, then you're going to be even more than 5 seconds fast. It doesn't matter. You can always adjust it. But I know that I'm on the right time. It's 3:36 and about 25 seconds right now. Okay, but I'm not on the right date because the date today is the 27th. Because I know I'm not in between the times 9 p.m. to 3 a.m., I can change the date. However, if you're setting the time between 9 p.m. and 3 a.m., just set it for like 6 in the morning, change the date to the correct time, and then advance it to after 9 p.m., and you'll be fine. But, okay, so I'm on the right time. I do one click, and now the seconds hands is still moving because I'm not in the second position. And I'm going to go counterclockwise, so kind of bring it toward me. You'll you'll see that the 24 is going to change, boom, 25, 26, 27. I'm on the right date. I'm on the right time. I'm going to push this in so it clicks. That means I'm in the 0 position. And now all I have to do is, like I said before, I have to push this in while gently twisting. If it doesn't go very easily, then push it in, back it up a little to catch the threads right. Try again. It should catch the threads. Oh, see, it's taken me a couple times. It's worth just taking a few minutes and making sure that you get the threads to catch correctly, because if you cross thread it, basically the case is ruined. If you've or at least the crown is ruined. Okay, so it's caught now, and now it's turning pretty easily, but you see that gap there is getting smaller and smaller because it's actually screwing the crown in, and now it's completely screwed in, and it won't move. It's even got these protectors here because this is the most vulnerable part of the watch is the crown here. It's got a stem that goes from the crown down into the movement to wind and to set. Okay, so remember, to unscrew it, you just unscrew it till you feel that it pop out. Right there, popped out. And then pull it, click it out once for date, twice for setting the time. To screw it back in, you push it into the 0 position, just straight in. It should click twice. And then you gently push it in and start screwing it righty-tighty till you feel it catch those threads. Sometimes you have to go a little bit backwards. Let's see. It's taking me a minute to do. Oh, hang on. Okay. Come on. You gotta keep pushing it in while you're screwing it in. Oh, see, it's not turning easily, so I know I've got it a little cross thread, so I'm going to bring it back out. And oh, by the way, when you're in the 0 position, you'll feel it kind of winding like a little resistance. You're winding the watch actually. Okay, so I have it pushed all the way in, but it's not screwed down, and I'm spinning it this way. I'm actually winding the watch. Okay, so you can either wind it up that way or by shaking it, wearing it, letting that rotor go. You cannot overwind these watches. They have a mechanism that causes it to not be overwound, because then if you wore it all day and it wound all the way up and you kept wearing it, it would overwind it. So they've invented a way to keep that from happening. Okay, so we've wound it, we push it in, we start, oh, see, I got it on the first try that time. I was pushing in and gently screwing it down. So you want it so it's screwed down like that with no gap between the crown and the watch itself, and you feel it's done because you can't screw it any more to the right because it's all the way screwed down. And that's when your watch is the most watertight, and the crown is protected from being bumped and bent and messed up, because you've got those protectors there, but also you have it screwed in. Okay. The bezel, this thing here is the bezel. It actually spins, and that's so you can say, all right, I set that little arrow that's usually at the 12 o'clock where the minute hand is. Then when the minute hand gets to the 10 there, I know 10 minutes has gone by, 20 minutes, 30, 40, 50. So it's kind of like a just an analog timer or stopwatch, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, it doesn't make any noises. You just have to look at it and you can see how much time has elapsed. It's for divers. For you, unless you're a diver, it's purely for looks. And this one, I don't know why, but it should, and it only goes one direction. It only goes counterclockwise. That's to protect it from telling you you have more time than you actually do if you're underwater. Uh, the only thing it can do is if it gets bumped, it can only go in the direction that would tell you you have less time than you think. So you'd get up before you ran out of air. But um, this one, I don't know why, but I have to go a little bit backwards and push down for it to work. Sometimes it gets caught and it won't turn, and I just have to take both my finger thumb, push down, go backwards a little, and uh, and turn it. I don't think that's going to be a problem because if you're wearing this, it's more for looks than for diving. I built this myself, so I cannot guarantee it's safe for any kind of diving. It says 300 meters on there, but I wouldn't put that to the test. This is not an actual Seiko watch. I bought all the pieces online, and they happened to send me a dial that said Seiko. I guess I would have preferred just having a nothing there. Um, but this is a cool looking watch. It's got a really good. The movement inside is actually a Seiko NH35 movement. So the only thing that's actually Seiko on the watch is the movement inside, and that's the important thing. That's the heart of the watch that keeps it running. All right, I hope this was helpful for you. Have a great day.